What is going on, guys, and welcome to the first podcast on the channel after quite a long time of promising to get these out. Now, I'm just recording this after I've already recorded the podcast. I just wanted to give a quick little intro to let everyone know what's going on, and then we'll go ahead and get stuck right into it. So, first off, obviously, I've never really done anything like this on the channel before, and so once you guys are done watching, I'd love it if you could leave some feedback down in the comment section, as I would definitely love to keep improving this little series as I go. Let me know if you thought it was too long or how often you'd like me to make these podcasts, or if there's anything you think could have been done better, and I'll make sure to fix that for the future podcasts. Second, I know most of you are already subscribed to Twisted anyway, but if you're not, I will leave a link down in the description to his channel, so make sure to go and drop him a sub if you haven't already. Last but not least, if you guys do enjoy this podcast, then I will of course keep pumping them out and getting new guests on for each episode. So if you have any other channels you'd love to see me get on, then make sure to let me know down below and I will do my best to get some of them on. But that is going to do it for me, guys, so I'm going to switch over to the recording. Hopefully you guys enjoy, and I will catch you all in the next one. What is going on, guys? Welcome to the first podcast on the channel. Today we're going to be joined by my good friend, the Twisted Jedi. How are you doing, Twisted?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Obviously, being Battlefront channels, we're going to go through a lot of Battlefront stuff with the latest update and stuff like that. And we will also kind of want to, with these podcasts, go through, you know, more, not so much personal questions, but talking about the actual, the guy behind the channel, I guess, as well. So we'll get onto the YouTube stuff later on, but we will, since it's probably the most relevant, I guess, we'll go through the Battlefront stuff first. So with the, what was it called, this Siege of Kamino update, what are your first thoughts on that since it's been out? It's been, what, 2 days since it could drop? So what are your initial thoughts on both Kamino and the HVV changes?
Yeah, so the first thing I did, and the first thing I was kind of excited to do when the update came out, was jump into Heroes vs Villains and kind of test out this new system that they've put in. It's kind of like a team deathmatch or hero blast sort of game mode now, as opposed to the old targeting system, and that was something that really interested me. I was one of the people that always wanted the targeting system changed because it just stopped players from running away, and I think the changes are definitely better than what they were before, and I kind of like now, again, just yesterday they've bumped it up from 25 to 50, so I think that's a really good change as well. And the fact that they're constantly tweaking it, they're going to really look to fix up that game mode and get it back to where it used to be, and where everyone kind of wants it to be. So that was the first thing I wanted to do. And then as far as Kamino, it looks great. You know, it's a decent spread out map. You've got the platforms, which is really cool, you know, give off that kind of OG Battlefront vibe. And I think it's really cool. They've got like some crashed, what are they called? The octopus droids.
The Trident droids or whatever.
The Trident, that's the one. Yeah, I always forget the name of it. But they look really cool, you know, crashed down in the middle of the battlefront. And I like the map. And Capital Supremacy, you know, I'm not a massive fan of it. I do enjoy it, but I think GA is still going to be my main game mode.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think while there's, you know, we've still only got 3 maps, and obviously we're getting, we assume it to be Naboo, since it's, they've confirmed it's the prequels. I don't know if it's just me being hopeful, but Tatooine is technically a prequel map, so I'm hoping it's Tatooine, because that's my favourite map, but I think it's pretty much confirmed to be Naboo. But I do agree that while it's, you know, there's only 3 maps, it is kind of hard to play it for a long period, especially because of how long the games go for. Sometimes you can play for 2 hours, 3 hours even. I remember on one of your streams you went for like 4 hours because you couldn't end the game. So it does make it
ending the stream like 2 hours later or something.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I think I tuned in at the start of that stream and you said, I'm probably just going to play one more, and then I went back on YouTube later on, like 2.5 hours later, and you're still going.
Yeah, and I was still going the same game.
Yeah. But I do agree with the HVV changes. I mean, I'm still probably not going to be the biggest, you know, HVV player, but I think it's definitely a positive change. The target system was it was kind of toxic. The actual, you know, it wasn't so much as on DICE's part. It was actually not a terrible game mode, but it was the way that people played it, and they couldn't have really predicted that. But I'm good. Like, it's glad to see that there are, you know, people are making complaints about it, and they just thought, well, we're just going to rework the whole thing, because it was getting to the point where, like, I just haven't played it for months. Honestly, it's too toxic for me.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't think I've touched Heroes vs Villains before a couple of nights ago in over a month, definitely.
Yeah. So now moving on. Obviously, I think it's actually 2 weeks from today. I could be wrong. Maybe it could be even 3 weeks. I'm not sure. But EA Play is coming up very soon. The DICE devs have been pretty, I guess, cryptic about the hinting stuff. They're hinting we might be getting stuff. Obviously, there's Fallen Order coming. So regardless if there was Battlefront stuff, they'd be doing that anyway. Just trying to promote, help Respawn promote their game. But Ben, I'm pretty sure it's been confirmed that there is going to be news for Battlefront. They've said that it will be there. What are you expecting? Well, I guess this is a 2-part question. What are you both expecting to get from EA Play in terms of Battlefront, and then what are you, I guess, hoping for? As in, probably a less realistic hopes.
Yeah, so there could be a lot of things. A lot of people. The same thing with last EA Play last year. People went in sort of skeptic and not really expecting much, and kind of a little bit, I guess, having a bit of lack of faith in DICE in terms of what they were going to announce at EA Play. And honestly, I kind of think it's going to be the same again this year. They're tweeting these cryptic messages, but I see a lot of people like, oh, it's just going to be like something small. They're making it seem bigger than it is. But honestly, there's been whispers of roadmaps floating around, and that's definitely something that could potentially be announced at EA Play. And if it was me, and my hopes for what they can kind of announce at a platform or an event like that, it would be absolutely a roadmap. Throw in some new maps or planets, throw in potentially new heroes or things like that, kind of like they did last year with Geonosis and the Clone Wars heroes that we now have in the game. But yeah, if they could do something like that, that would be 100% like blow me away, and that's kind of what I want.
Yeah, exactly. I think to think like, look, it's crazy that was a year ago, but thinking back to then, it was like we did not expect that in a year from then that we would still be the game content. The game would still be pushing forward. And I know that the content lately hasn't been anything crazy, but it is still, we're getting a map per month, and obviously they're not really new maps, but they are still doing stuff. We got that new game versions, mode. Yeah, exactly. Got the new game mode as well. We got 4 heroes. So now that that's out of the way, I think it's sort of, I don't know. They've set themselves up well to promote something new. Depends how how much they want to sort of keep pushing the game. They might be just thinking, we'll just go to the end of this year and then we're done. Or they could be going, well, that, who would have expected to last that year? Maybe we can try for another one. So I think, there's been a lot of talk of, I don't know if it's any of it's like legit, but there's been a lot of talk of Ahsoka Adventurous, mainly just probably from the community and the rumors and stuff. But some info for anyone who knows him, he's I wouldn't say it sounds weird to say a credible leaker, because it's never really credible. But honestly, of all the leakers I've come across in any video game community, he's probably the most credible that I've ever seen. And he was saying that he thinks that they'll announce those 2 characters soon. So I don't know, take that with a grain of salt, but that's what I'm I don't want to say that's what I'm expecting, but that's what I'm, I guess, leaning towards. If we are going to get some big stuff, I'd imagine that's what it'll be. But do you think that's a realistic thing to get, say, maybe Ahsoka and Ventress and maybe, I don't know, a map or something like that? Or do you think they're going to still announce something big but sort of tone it down compared to last year?
Oh no, I 100% think that they have the potential to announce, heroes and maps. Obviously some info, like you said, he's been pretty spot on with a lot of his predictions, and he said a lot of things about Ahsoka. And if we look back to the update when we got General Grievous, there was data miners that found voice lines of Grievous, saying the Padawan and Tano, and then even voice lines for Padme. With Grievous, like dialogue towards Padme as well. So I think that's even potentially something we may see. I don't know. Data miners, again, it's never really 100% credible. You don't know. You can literally just type something on the screen and it may look like a data miner pulled it from the files. But I think, potential for heroes, potential for maps. Me personally, I would love maps before heroes, because I think GA could use some new fresh maps and just keep it a little bit exciting and not changing, because we haven't really gotten an update in a while except for Geonosis, really. So
yeah, I agree with that. I think I know that they're pushing Capital Supremacy, it's the new game mode and stuff, but I do think still Galactic Assault since launch has been just completely overlooked in terms of new content. We've gotten Geonosis, and that's it. Literally, I guess you could say Crate, but that was made before the game launched, so I don't really count that as content, really.
Yeah, I think GA is really the flagship game mode for Battlefront 2.
Yeah,
it's
I agree with that.
Got the highest player base out of everything. So
yeah, I think I think Capital Supremacy has the potential to pass it if it had the same amount of maps, for example. But I just think I don't know, they don't sound like they're going to be doing it in other eras. They seem like it's just going to be prequel stuff, and so if that is the case, I don't think it will ever be the main game mode. But I don't know. I think we do need at least, I don't know, 1 or 2 maps for Galactic Assault before the game ends, or else it will be kind of disappointing. I think there's still, 13 maps. Like, that's still a lot, but in the, what has it been, 20 months since it dropped, we've gotten 1 map, essentially. So my hopes for it is I really want Coruscant. I really, really badly just want, like, I don't know, like the metro of Coruscant, like on the ground. Even you could have it even involving like the Jedi Temple or whatever. There's so much on Coruscant, but that's probably, if I could pick one piece of content, not including, like, I think private matches and things like that, for me is more important. But if I could pick one piece of content, it would be Coruscant. What would you say is if you could pick one thing, what would it be?
Honestly, it probably would be the same.
Yeah.
I think Coruscant is one that a lot of people would love to see, and me as well. It was just such a big part of the prequels, and they've kind of gone towards this Clone Wars feel, so I think that would tie in perfectly with what they're going for. Yeah,
that is very true. So moving on, a bit of a, I guess, touchy subject in the community at the moment. What are your thoughts on Anakin currently? Not just sort of, not since launch, but just his actual current state of, they keep trying to nerf him, and it just doesn't seem to work. What are your thoughts on it? And also, do you have any sort of ways that you think they could fix it?
Honestly, I don't think it's anything to do with his damage output. I mean, I think it was before, but now the fact that they've nerfed it a little bit has kind of helped the subject. But I think the issue that I have mostly is that he has 4 abilities.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's kind of, he's very ability heavy. A lot of his kills, you come up against an Anakin in HVV or GA, he'll pull you towards him, and then you get towards him, then he'll break your block, and then he'll knock you down with heroic might. Like, it's the combination of moves, and then right when you think you've got him and he's just about dead, he hits the win button.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Retribution comes out, and their whole squad's wiped out, or everyone in the area is kind of eliminated. So, and he's got full health again. Yeah. That's kind of something that no other hero can do in the game, and I think creates that imbalance that's not really, I guess, fair to the dark side. Not that the dark side was ever fair to anyone, but
yeah, true.
I think for a long time the dark side was very overpowered in Battlefront 2, and I think they've tried to counter that by making Anakin stupidly powerful, and it's just gone the complete opposite way. So I think maybe looking into potentially removing an ability, or just making the cooldown so long that it only happens once per lifespan. If maybe Retribution happened once per lifespan of a 50 Anakin's kill streak, or something like that, as essentially a last resort thing that he can use if he's just about to die or something. I think that's potentially the way to go about it, is just removing one of the abilities or making it less frequent.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's you take Retribution and Heroic Might, they are without a doubt the two best abilities by just, it's not even close. They're the two best abilities in the game, and the fact that he has both of them, it's I don't know how they thought it would be balanced. I mean, when he launched, I was one of the people saying, "Nah, don't nerf him. He's, the light side needs, the light side needs a strong character," and we didn't understand how powerful he was. After like 5 days, after about 5 days, you kind of started going, I don't know about this. So I think taking, I don't know which one's worse. Heroic Might is easily the best in the game against troopers, but then the Retribution is just a hero killer. So I can't tell which one's worse. I think
it used to be fucking Chewie, and now it's fucking Anakin.
I think I agree with what you said about Retribution. It should just be, I think you should spawn and it should be available, but once you use it, it's gone. And you can never, if you had a 200 kill streak, it's gone forever. Like, it doesn't matter. Will never come back. And then I think Heroic Might should only deal enough damage to, I don't know, maybe I can see it killing a reinforcement. Maybe, maybe not like a death trooper or something. Maybe. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I'd be okay with that, because I do still think if they nerf him too much, then it will be back to the dark side will just dominate. So I do still want him to be powerful, but honestly, his current state is really, really frustrating. I think, and this kind of leads into the next question, I think that the current state of the game is actually easily the best that it's ever been if you take Anakin away, or if he's balanced. Would you agree with that? That it's currently, they've sort of buffed a lot of characters. They've got, there's still bugs obviously, but they've got a lot of them out of the game. Would you agree that the current state of the game is the best that it's ever been if you were to take Anakin out, or if you were to actually balance him?
Yeah, 100%. I think where it is right now after the last update, usually with an update a lot of bugs come through. I think with this one they were kind of minimal, or at least nobody's really discovered too many of them yet, which is a good thing. And like you said, with a lot of the heroes getting buffs, they now again feel like heroes. I think that's one of the things I've always had an issue with is, a hero can feel very fragile at times, and just get completely plowed, whereas you think back to Battlefront 2015, a hero felt like a hero.
Yeah,
you could just go destroying people with that. So it's getting back to that way now. And I think, as far as community support and positivity surrounding the game, it's probably the highest it's been in the whole lifespan of it, I think.
Yeah, for sure. It's pretty crazy to see people like Jack Frags and Shroud and that playing. It's actually, it's kind of surreal in a way to see a Twitch notification from Shroud and it says Battlefront 2. It's kind of like, what the hell? Like, this is not, this is not the type of game that you expect those guys to be playing. That's another question that, I don't know, this is just a thought, but do you think EA or DICE would have a part in that? Do you reckon they would be saying to these guys, hey, do you want to try and help us promote the game? Because obviously Shroud and Jack Frags have played, they were playing at launch and stuff like that, and I'm wondering whether EA has sort of, gave him a bit of a nudge and said, would you mind promoting, not really promoting, but just say, would you play it on stream, for a day and just help build some hype? Because I think it was kind of strange how they all started doing it at the same time. Yeah, so
there's always that potential, influence of big streamers and big channels to try and promote your game or give a fresh light on the changes that have been made. There's always that chance, but I know for a fact Shroud's actually a big Star Wars guy. He actually really quite enjoys Star Wars, from the movies to the older games as well. And like you said, these guys were playing it at launch, and what took them away was the whole the way the game was at the early days, and the state of the game. And it's completely different now, like we just spoke about. So I think there's potential that it's been mentioned to them from DICE or someone at EA or something, but I think it's also a fact that at the end of the day they're Star Wars fans and they see some hype building around the game and a positive change almost, and maybe they just wanted to check it out for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. I was actually watching Shroud's like most of the stream, and it's very clear that it's not his first time playing. He had like some of his characters were like level 30 and stuff. So you don't. I mean, I know he's a very good player. But you don't get them. You don't get them that high by just being good. You have to put in the hours. So it's very clear. A lot of people were saying that. I saw on Twitter just saying, "Oh, EA's just paid them and they don't even care. They're just doing it for the money." But like, he's obviously played it, and he's a Star Wars fan. Same as Jack Frags. He's kind of like a Battlefield and Battlefront channel. It's just that he never did much Battlefront because obviously the launch was a little bit
shaky.
Yeah, a little bit iffy there for a while. So
you go where the views come. So
yeah, exactly. Moving on. I've got a question. If you could change 3 things about Battlefront in its current state, just to, keep pushing it forward, what would they be?
First one is very easy private matches.
Yep.
I think that's something that a lot of people want, and for something like hero duels, lightsaber stuff like that, that would be wicked if we could get some private matches in the game.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Number 2, probably more blasters for infantry. That's a big point. Highly requested. A lot of my subs ask for that, and they say that's the biggest thing that they want. And then probably I would say maybe maps as a third. If you exclude bug fixes and things like that, I think in terms of big content, maps would be number 3.
I would pretty much agree with that 100%. Honestly, I don't think there's anything that I would change. I think private matches. It's like, before this game ends, that needs to happen. Like, that is a thing that needs to happen. And I mean,
because at that point you can always come back to it.
Yeah, exactly. You can. That just adds so much more longevity to the game. It's like Battlefront 2015. People still regularly play that, and if you can't find if you can't find a lobby, you can just go, oh well, get 20 subs, and get another 20 subs on another team, and just have a little private match. So I think that is something that honestly needs to happen. Whether it does, I don't know. It's hard to say, but that is literally the one thing that I want. And I think I don't know if you've been paying much attention to Battlefield, but they've just announced it's not out yet. It doesn't come out for a couple of months, but they're doing the rental servers again, which is something they've done back in the past. And I think that honestly would be such a good idea for DICE to do with Battlefront, because one, it's money that they can make, because honestly I don't know how they're making any money off skins, and they need to make money for it to keep going. So I think it's a good, it's not going to make them a killing, but it's a good form of revenue, because I think I can imagine the amount of people that would rent a server would be crazy.
Definitely.
And not only that, but imagine the things you could do with, it's not only a private,
customizable servers.
Yeah, exactly. It's not only private, but you can have your own server, and you can just say, I'm only going to make original trilogy maps on this one or whatever, and you can just do what you want. I honestly would pay whatever if it costs. I know the Battlefield ones are about 100. I think it was $180 for a year, which kind of sounds steep, but honestly, I would pay even more than that to.
Yeah.
I can imagine the amount of things you could do. Every stream you could just have private matches, you could have hero duels and stuff like that. So I think that's something that they need to do. But again, I can almost guarantee that won't happen. But private matches is at least, I don't know, it could happen.
Has potential.
But whether it does is a little bit iffy, I guess. Moving on to the last question for the Battlefront stuff. Do you see much of a future for the game? If you do, how much longer do you think it can actually last for?
I think the good thing about Star Wars games and stuff like that, if the support from the player base and from the community is there, the developers don't really have much reason to stop supporting it. I think in terms of DICE, they're really passionate, and I've seen some of the behind the scenes stuff, having been to the studio and things like that. So they want to keep supporting it, and they want more help, and they want more devs on the game, but it's more of, whether EA goes, all right, this isn't making us as much money as we want, let's move on. I think maybe 6 to 12 months, I'd say EA Play is going to show us the next couple of months on a roadmap. Potentially that's something they could announce there, and then whether or not we get something after end of that roadmap. It's probably maybe pushing it a little bit, but I just think there's still a lot of people that enjoy this game, you know, you and me included. So I think it definitely has a future and you know, has that chance of getting more content later down the line.
Yeah, I agree. And I think with this is something I only thought of today when I was writing these questions down. I think if they do decide to, I mean, it's almost confirmed that we will be getting, depends how much, but we will be getting content till the end of the year. They pretty much said that at the start of the year.
Yes.
And that kind of made me think, well, episode 9 comes out, like, are we going to get, I'm assuming now that we're going to get episode 9 content, because they're not, if it's still going in December, surely they'll release content for that. So
yeah, well, they did episode 8 stuff, so there's always that chance that they'll do episode 9. I think they probably do.
Yeah, and so if they do that, then that kind of, you know, that's just more stuff that they can do, and then that might even take it, like, we might actually be able to last until this time next year or something. So
yeah,
I think there's a potential there, but yeah, like you said, it's sort of, it could go either way, honestly. It could just,
it's hit or miss.
Yeah, it could be done in 3 months. Like, we have no idea. It's kind of in limbo at the moment, but I guess it's not long now until EA Play, and that'll be a real, probably not as big as last EA Play, but that'll be a real sort of moment for this game, I think.
Yeah, it'll be a make or break moment for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So that is going to do it for the Battlefront stuff. Now we're going to move on to just some more stuff about just, I guess, YouTube in general, your channel, I guess, everyday life almost. So the first question is, what made you decide to start your channel back when you started?
Yeah, so it's funny, I was listening to your 20k Q&A video there, and you answered a very similar question from one of your subscribers, and you know, you kind of said you actually saw me get started and the Aussie Jedi get started, and you know, as Australians, you know, killing it and getting some growth early on, and that's why you kind of started. The same thing is actually why I started. I actually saw the Aussie Jedi himself actually killing it, and you know, really gaining some traction early on, and I thought, yeah, like, why not? You know, why can't I do the same thing, and why can't I be successful with it? So himself and also Elliot from Battlefront Updates, you know, these guys just absolutely smashed it from day one. And I know Elliot's been around a lot longer than Aussie Jedi has, but you know, him being Australian was what helped me relate to it, and then just the quality of content that, you know, the streams and stuff that Elliot puts out, you know, always had me interested in doing YouTube. And yeah, I just kind of started winging it and trying to be different. And then I had, you know, before Battlefront 2 even came out, I had one of my videos, you know, when I had like 100 subs blow up to about 2,000 views, and kind of went, oh shit, like, this could potentially be something here. And yeah, it went from there. So
yeah, I kind of feel like most people's, you always expect a different answer, but I feel like most people's answers are actually very similar. They're involved in the game, and then they, you know, most people that are gamers these days pay attention to the YouTube side of it. And then I feel like most people who start channels originally were just like fans of other YouTubers, and they thought, well,
someone else,
yeah, I guess I can start doing it myself. So I guess the next question is, and this kind of can relate to when you started as well as now, what are your short-term goals in terms of, I guess, I don't know, the rest of this year, and then what are your long-term goals for your channel?
Yeah, that's something you and I have actually spoken about a fair bit off stream, and you know, not in recordings, but 20k was definitely the goal for this year, which you've absolutely smashed out of the park with that one. So congratulations.
Thank you, my man. You're nearly there as well. I don't think it'll be very long.
So I mean, I'm just about to tick over 15k, and we're only in May, so there's definitely that chance to do that as a short-term goal, and then long-term, you know, I would absolutely love to you know, reach 100k at some point, and potentially even go full-time, which I know answers one of your later questions that you have planned for this, but yeah, if I could turn it into something full-time, that'd be awesome. But yeah, just to be able to keep enjoying the content that I've been making, and you know, be preferably a Star Wars channel right the way through, or you know, a Star Wars gaming channel if we continue to get them, which I'm sure we will. That would be 100% a long-term goal, is just to stay happy doing what I'm doing, and yeah, hopefully stay towards Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think that is the main factor to YouTube, is you have you really do have to enjoy it. I don't know how. I know there's a channel. There's probably a couple of channels that I know you know, and I think most people listening will know that they seem to not enjoy it, and you can tell in their content, and they just seem unhappy. And I honestly don't know. It's different if you had 10 million subs and you're making however much money a year. You'd probably just go, whatever. Like, it's better than another job, so I may as well do it. But I think at like channels our size, I think if you're just in it for the money, that's just not going to work. You can still, like, neither of us will lie. We obviously want to make money, but it's not our original goal. It's to just have fun, make videos, and that's pretty much the gist of it. But I think a lot of other channels, probably from the get-go, probably start thinking, I want to be, I'm doing it for the clout and for the money and stuff. And I don't know. I don't think that's the way to go. In saying that, there's a lot of channels that start that way and they end up doing exactly that. So I can't say that it doesn't work, but I just think it's more likely to not work if that's the original goals.
Yeah, 100%.
So moving on, what motivates you to keep on going with the channel?
I think it's the subscribers really more than anything, and as corny as that sounds, it sounds like I'm kind of pandering to them a little bit. It's the relationships you make and the friendships you make. Guys like yourself and Paul Jaeger and Lethal and the guys as Brandster that have been around from day one. That have been around for a long time, and even sometimes newer subs. That have only just recently found the channel. They're really loyal and they take care of you on the channel. Essentially, they become mods, or they're just always active and chatting away in your streams or commenting on your videos. So that kind of support is kind of what keeps me going, really. I think it's cool to have a community of your own. And I know you and I actually share most of our community, which is why we're similar in size and kind of growing at similar rates. But it's cool just to be a part of that community and have people that love you for the content you make and what you put out. So it's awesome. Yeah,
I would agree with that. I think that quickly became, like, I never expected that to really happen. I was always one of those people that when I was watching YouTube, for example, I would never really be the type to get involved in like the community and stuff. I would just watch a channel and I would never like comment or anything. I was just sort of a regular viewer. And starting the channel, I kind of just assumed that it was always like that. I didn't really, obviously that there's like community involved, but it quickly became, within, I don't know, a couple hundred subs, it became just the main reason. Honestly, it was just, you just meet so many awesome people through it, and you kind of just feel, I don't know, that's just what motivates me to, and like you said, it's the same for you. It just motivates you to keep making videos for those guys, because at the end of the day, we don't make videos for ourselves to watch. Like, I don't watch my own videos. I don't upload them and then sit down and have lunch and go, I'm going to watch my video today. So I do agree with what you said. It does become pretty much, I wouldn't say 100%, but a lot of it is to do with just the community feeling, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Moving on, we have another one that is, how have you found, and this is I know that it's a good question to ask you because I feel like we're in the same boat here. How have you found balancing YouTube and just your real life commitments outside of YouTube?
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a juggling act, and anyone that does YouTube and is trying to grow on YouTube knows how hard it can be at times and how difficult it can be as well. So with me, for the people watching that don't really know my story, I work full time, so 40 hours a week. And I have done for a long time. So, when you work a 40-hour week, sometimes you are really exhausted and it's hard to sit down and make content after your real life commitments. You may, work a full day, a 10-hour day, and then you come home at the end of the day and you've got to make yourself dinner and get yourself ready for the next day. And, then you sit down and you're like, I could edit this video right now, but do I want to? And that relates back to the previous content is, yes, I do want to sit down and make this content because, the subscribers, they want something new and fresh and they want to be there to support you on your next bit of content. So it can be really tricky. And I know a lot of YouTubers go through phases where they step away from creating content for a little while and just kind of take a little break and come back really refreshed and do better than ever. And you know, me and you, Sammy, we spoke about it a little while ago. We both had like a week or two off at the same time, and you know, the subs were screaming out for content because we share that sort of community, and because we had both taken time off at the same time, they were just waiting for us to come back. And then, you know, when we came back, we both kind of got a real surge of energy to make content and to do that kind of thing, you know, even if we were tired. So it's really cool to see that. And, you know, even when you take a little break away, people don't tend to leave. People tend to, you know, request you come back more or come back earlier. So that's really cool. And that kind of helps me balance my real life and YouTube. So
yeah, I agree. I think it's I feel like, and I'm a very stubborn person. I'm always like, oh nah, I can power through. I can always, you know, get stuff done. But I think it gets to the point, and it will happen again to everyone, you just do need to sometimes just stop for a bit. And I remember we were talking, I think it was around, it was like the middle of last month, wasn't it? Or maybe the month before. When, yeah, we both kind of just had, it wasn't really like a proper break, but I was just away, and you were the same. You had some family stuff going on, and we were talking, and we realised just how much we needed it without actually knowing that we needed it. I never thought like, oh, I need a break. But then when I had it, I remember going, I remember going, me and the girlfriend went away for a bit, and then I came home and I was just sitting on the couch thinking, wow, like that actually that really helped more than I thought that it would. So I do agree with that. I always kind of wondered why, you know, it almost seems like it happens to everyone. Everyone just has a break every now and then, and I always wondered like, oh, maybe they don't like it anymore or can't be bothered. But I think it's just I think it'll happen to every single YouTuber ever. Honestly, I think it's harder than people realise it to be, I think. And yeah, you definitely need a break every now and then, I think.
To grow and be successful, it's a real grind. So sometimes you just need that little bit of time.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this kind of relates, so we're going to skip the next question, and I'm going to sort of tie this into the last one. Talking about how much time it does take, what is your normal process for making a video in terms of when you first get the idea, or, you know, do you get the footage first and then get the idea? What do you, from start to finish, what is your regular process?
So basically, I split it up into a couple of little sections. My gameplay is always kind of on record, you know, so anytime I get a hero in GA, or, you know, I have a real good game of heroes versus villains, you know, I'll hit the record button or save the clip of footage for, you know, for future use on a YouTube video, or, you know, to play in the background with my audio commentary. So that's kind of always there. I've always got that footage backed up, ready to go, unless I get like a real like recent kill streak that I want to put in there. So that's kind of always there, which is nice. It saves a little bit of time just having some footage backed up. But then, you know, when I actually sit down to do the editing process, it's kind of, I'll brainstorm. You know, usually I've got a list of ideas that maybe, you know, different video ideas that I want to do, or different things I can talk about. And, you know, once I've got an idea in my head, for example, you know, like the hero concept videos that I do, it's kind of like I'll research the hero. You know, I've already got a pretty decent Star Wars knowledge on a lot of the heroes that I've done those concepts on, but I just want to make sure it's really down pat, you know, like the name of the blaster that they use, or, you know, different abilities that they've used in, you know, maybe the novels that I haven't read, or what they were really good at and what they weren't good at, and things like that. I just want it to be, you know, really accurate. So a little bit of research goes in before I even hit record. And then I'll usually list out dot points that I want to mention during the audio recording. And then after that, it's kind of just plugging it all together and editing the audio in with the video and letting it render and sit there for an hour while it actually goes through the rendering process.
That's the real tedious part, isn't it?
Very familiar with that yourself, yeah.
Yeah.
So just making sure it all fits and it's all accurate, and it's going to be, you know, the best possible content that I can put out. You know, I hate taking shortcuts and I hate doing things the lazy way. So taking that little bit of extra time sometimes is always really good for the end result.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's a lot of channels out there, not even just Battlefront, just a lot of gaming channels. It's kind of, I mean, it kind of stemmed from back when YouTube gaming started. It was, most of it was just gameplay commentary. So people would just have footage, and then they would just literally talk about like their day. It was almost like a vlog, but with gameplay in the background. And it seems like that's still not quite as much, but it's still there when there's a lot of other people being a lot more like sort of creative and trying to do stuff their own way rather than the you know, I guess you would say the easy way. It's still not easy. It's still by no means easy to make any video. But
yeah, I think there's a difference too though. Like you look at something like a news update, you know, when we get a news update from the devs, jump on it and you know, it's a quick edit, you know, you get the information in there, paste a screenshot of what they said and then render it and get it up as quickly as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
You compare something like that to, you know, something like your map guides or, you know, hero guides or a hero concept from me or something like that. You know, you see a lot of work goes into those videos and, you know, there's multiple screenshots, there's multiple layers, there's this, there's that, like there's stuff going on all the time. Whereas you compare that to, like I said, the news videos that are just literally commentary video, one screenshot, that's it.
Exactly,
so
yeah.
You really see the difference in how much time goes into something, and yeah, I think it reflects.
Yeah, I agree. Now I've got two more questions. One is, what are your thoughts, and this is a this is a touchy one. What are your thoughts on I guess the Battlefront YouTube community in general and the looming clickbait that it's probably gotten better, honestly, but it's still there. What are your thoughts on that?
So I kind of think the Battlefront 2 community in general split up into two, really, in my opinion, into two sides. One is, you know, they love the game, they want to see it do well, they're going to support it, they're really loyal to the game, you know, guys like us that have been playing it from day one and the people that have been supporting us from day one and, you know, have a really positive and optimistic outlook on the game. I think that's one side of the community that's really great. But then again, like you said, you have, oh, this game could have been so good. And you know, like there's the real negative side to it, or it had so much potential, it's garbage, blah, blah, blah. Like, and they just bash it. But in their spare time, they're probably still playing it, to be honest. Let's be real. So there's kind of two sides to it. And I think that kind of negative-ish side leans into the clickbait. You know, there are some titles out there that are just really absolutely appalling on videos and some thumbnails that tie in very horrendously as well. So the clickbait in terms of, you know, Battlefront 2 is, well, it was very high for a long time. I think it's still there now, but I think people have realized what they're doing. People realize when other people want to clickbait and they're more likely to call them out on it now. Whereas, you know, you think back maybe 6 to 12 months ago, like people were like, oh my god, Anakin gameplay, and it's just a mod. Like,
yeah.
it's one of those things that was very heavy. It was in that kind of dry spell we had for Battlefront 2 for a little while there, and they were just trying to fill content and, you know, gain subscribers by doing whatever they could and saying whatever they could. And I think it's a little bit lesser now, but it's definitely still there, and I would love to see it abolished.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of the reason why it has dropped off is because, like you said, people not only catching on to the channels that do it and sort of stopping, you know, they might just stop watching their videos, but I think, like you said, the community kind of calls it out a bit more now, and it's almost like when the game, not so much when the game launched, but that first maybe 12 months when there wasn't much content, people were desperate to just get views, and I do understand it. Like, if there's not much content, you kind of do get to that point where you're like, oh, what the hell do I even make a video on? But people were getting like too desperate to the point where it was just, oh, I'm gonna get some Qui-Gon mods and pretend like he's in the game.
Real gameplay.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, like you said, I think it's gotten better because of pretty much just the community. I think overall the community, like you said, how there's sort of two sides to it. I think the positive side has sort of, I don't want to say overtaken, but there's probably more positive people now than there was. There's still negative people, and, you know, a lot of it's warranted. The game is still far from perfect, but I think that positive side has sort of taken a bit more control, and they're not afraid to call people out when they see a little bit of regular clickbait. I think every now and then, like everyone does it every now and then. Sometimes you just have to. If you've got a video you want to do well, sometimes you just have to. But even then, it's not. Most people don't do it misleading. You might just have a really catchy sort of title or whatever. But the one that
there's a difference. There's a difference between like drawing someone in to watch your video and just essentially like misleading them completely. Like
I think the definition of clickbait has kind of changed, honestly, because technically every thumbnail ever made is clickbait. That's the point of it, is to get people to click on your video. So technically all of our videos are clickbait in a way, but I think the new meaning of clickbait is like when you click on it and it's not what you wanted.
Yeah, it's misled.
Yeah. So I agree. I think it has gotten better finally, but I think it may still have a ways to go, and I'm kind of nervous about with EA Play and whatever they announced there. I feel like there's going to be a lot sort of coming out, but
through again.
But hopefully it's not quite as bad as it was that the first 12 months, because that was pretty horrendous.
Pretty dismal. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Now for the last question, which we did kind of touch on this a little bit earlier, and this relates to two channels lately, which I'm sure you know about. If you guys watching or listening haven't heard, Silky, who I actually did a collab with, is another Aussie Battlefront channel, and Swanee Plays Games, who I think everyone knows. They actually got demonetized in this last week for, I think it was the same reason. I'm pretty sure it was both for
reused content.
Yeah, so it's kind of, honestly, it's kind of made me a little nervous, honestly, because both of them, and I'm not the biggest Swanee fan, I'll say that, but I feel sorry for him, and I don't think the reasoning behind it really makes sense. I don't know if there's maybe a actual reason for it or whatever, but, and it's the same with Silky, like they're trying to say, he's not being creative with his videos. It's no less creative than any other video, so I don't quite understand it, and honestly, it has, I think most Battlefront channels probably would be getting a little nervous since there's two in 1 week on the same game. It kind of seems strange, but anyway, getting into the question, due to the I never really thought of that your channel can just really just get, not deleted, but everything can go south pretty quickly. Would you ever, if you got to the right size, would you ever go full time? Obviously, if you had like 10 million subs, like I said earlier, it'd be stupid not to, but realistically thinking, do you think both that you ever could, or as well as like, would you go full time? And if so, like, at what point, obviously it's hard to tell now, but at what point do you think that would be where you could actually go full time?
Yeah, like I mentioned before that I would go full time if I had the opportunity to do so, but I would have to be in a very stable financial position before I made any decision like that, because you can get demonetized like at the drop of a hat, and then what do? You've got no money coming in and you're not working, so it's a very scary thing to think about. It's also a very exciting thing to think about, but I would definitely not do it before 100k. Even then, that's probably pushing it. Maybe 200k, but I think it would rely on channel members pretty heavily as well. Like, that's something that that commitment is there from all your your loyal supporters, and people may not think $5 a month or whatever means a lot, but when you've got 25-30 channel members, that's pretty good going at certain rates. So I think even if you are demonetized on YouTube at some point, and say you've got 150k subs and you've got 200 channel members, you can very easily put that out to your channel members and be like, hey guys, YouTube's just demonetized me, would love you to switch your support over to Patreon and cancel your YouTube channel memberships until I get back to monetization or whatever like that. So I think if you have a big enough base of support and really loyal subscribers, then you could definitely do it. And it's something I would do, but I would love to be in a very stable financial position before making that decision.
Yeah, I think that to do it, and I think this would go for anyone, you'd have to. I think someone actually in my Discord, I can't remember who it was. They said that they've heard someone say it really well. You should only do YouTube full time when going to work actually makes you lose money, pretty much. So they pretty much explained it that you shouldn't ever do it unless you're going to earn more money by going full time. So I think that's the perfect way to think about it. Like if well, I mean, it's hard for me to say because I'm a student, so it's not like I'm making money from being at uni anyway.
Yeah,
but
well, if you can make more money sitting at home playing than you can going to work for a full day, then that's probably an indication that you can do something like that,
Yeah.
But again, when you're kind of, I hear people trying to go full time at like 30K and stuff like that. It's like, that's not the time to do it. Yeah, you may have donations one night, but it's not stable. That's not always going to be there. I plugged into a stream 2 nights ago and ended up with like $200 in donations, but that's not going to happen, every day.
Yeah.
Like that might be a full day's wage for me at work, but at the same time, that's not going to happen on every single stream that I pump on. So it's kind of, it's hard. You have to be at a very, very substantial size. And if you can stream every single day and make more money than going to work, that's 100% when you should do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think, like you said, the channels that are doing it so early, like, I think, what's the saying? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. I think that's a really good saying that you're gonna, and I think this would be the case if you had 1 million subs. You should always have some kind of backup, because at the end of the day, one, your channel could just get demonetized. 2, whatever game you're playing, or if you're whatever channel you are, whatever your content relates to, that could just die off. So for example,
loses support.
Yeah, Battlefront could just die, and then let's just say we were full time, we'd be like, well, now I'm fucking rooted. So
now I gotta wait for something else to come along.
Yeah, and at that point you'd have to pretty much rebuild the channel on another game. So I think everyone would love to do it, but honestly, I wouldn't see myself. I reckon I would agree with what you said. Probably minimum 100K, but even then, I don't think. I mean, as a uni student, that would be awesome, because if I'm still studying, then essentially it's better than not working. But if I was working full time, even at 100K, it's hard to tell how much you'd be earning at 100K, I guess. But I still don't know if I could do that. That's such a risk, especially if you were younger, maybe. But what are you? You're 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm 23. So like at our age, if you did it and it didn't work, like you're gonna be kind of screwed if you do it and then you build a house or something and then it dies. Then you'd be pretty
halfway through building a house and you got no money coming in. Yeah, you're messed at that point, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. So I think I'm pretty sure that's everything that I wanted to touch on today. I wanted to say a big thank you for coming on. I know you're a busy man with your new job, so thank you for coming on. I will leave a link in the description to Twisted's channel if you haven't. I know most people who are watching this are probably already subbed, but if you're not, go and check out Twisted's channel. If you like my channel, there's no reason you won't like Twisted's, because we're pretty much the same person. We've been people think we're brothers, so we're pretty much
had like literally the same video ideas like within days of each other. So.
Yeah. So I will leave a link to the description, in the description to Twisted's channel. I'll try and leave one in the pinned comment as well if I remember. But thank you for coming on, Twisted.
Yeah, no problem, man. It's been fun. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate it.
No worries. I have no doubt that if I keep doing these, I have no doubt I'll get you back on at some point. So that is going to do it for today, boys and girls. Again, thank you all for watching. I actually don't know how long this has been going for. It feels like about 2 hours though.
It's going to be a pretty lofty video, that's for sure.
This could probably take me all day to upload, honestly. But thank you all very much for watching, and I'll catch you hopefully in a couple of weeks on the next podcast.
There's always